indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Next I have is the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda this morning.
Renee is gone today, so I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is approval of minutes of April 5th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of April 5th.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is approval of claims for payments totaling $153,058.24.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims for payment.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now I have is an application for use of courthouse grounds.
We received an application from the Hardin County Child Abuse Prevention Coalition asking to put one of the Blue Kid cutouts on the courthouse square. We've done it in previous years. It would be placed on the front courthouse yard facing north, and just using pole ties to the cutouts, and they would like to have it set up Monday, April 17th in the morning. So I'm making a motion to approve the application for putting up the child abuse prevention cutout on the courthouse lawn.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now I have is the recorder's monthly report.
I'll make a motion to approve the county recorder's report as provided.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now I have the sheriff's quarterly report.
I'll make a motion to approve the sheriff's quarterly report as provided by Sheriff McDaniel.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now I have change of status in the sheriff's office.
I'll make a motion for the discharge of Kayla Cruz. She was a permanent part-time correctional officer at the pay rate of $12.36 an hour. She was dates of employment were May 16, 2015 to June 22nd, 2015. Last day of work will be March 3rd of 2017.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'm trying to figure out the dates of employment and the last day of work.
I believe, yeah, just removing people from the role.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now I have is abatement of 2015 taxes.
I'll make a motion to approve the abatement of the 2015 taxes on Outlot 5, Lot 6 in Eldora.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now we have is acknowledge of receipt of animal feeding operation. Acknowledge of receipt of animal feeding operation construction permit, Gary Hansen Site, Section 28 of Etna Township.
I'll acknowledge the receipt of the animal feeding operation construction permit from Gary Hansen Site, Section 28 of Etna Township.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, just so kind of revisiting what we've talked about in previous weeks, this is just the physical application. This is just the fact that somebody sent it in. I have it physically in my hand. no decision on, anything is made. It's just a fact that it's physically in our presence.
Any other discussion? Hearing no more discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now is to set date and time for the public hearing on the animal feeding operation construction permit Gary Hansen site.
I'll make a motion to set the date and time for the public hearing on the animal feeding operation construction permit for the Gary Hansen site for May 3rd, 2017 at 10:02 a.m. in the main conference room of the Hardin County Courthouse.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now I have is the approval of the secondary roads 5-year construction plan. What'd you call that?
Yep.
We went through it last week a little bit.
So last week, we met with Daryl and his staff, and I will make a motion to approve the secondary roads 5-year construction program as submitted by Daryl from the county engineer's office.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
As soon as that's approved through the DOT, we'll post it on the website for everybody to see that and have maps with it.
Okay.
Right, Micah?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to go with a roll call.
BJ?
Aye.
Lance?
Aye. Motion carries. Now we have is the approval of the secondary roads Iowa IDOT budget 2017 and 18.
I'll make a motion to approve the secondary roads Iowa Department of Transportation budget for fiscal year 17-18.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
It's just a little more detailed budget. It's the same as we approved for the county.
It has to be done by today, right? I'm just kidding.
Pretty soon though. But as soon as they approve it, we'll put this up on the website also.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
BJ?
Aye.
Lance?
Aye. Motion carries. Now I have is utility permits of secondary roads.
Let's see here. Yep, just a single one, correct? Yep. Make a motion to approve the Hardin County utility permit application by Windstream Iowa Communications for the purpose of plowing buried cable into the south shoulder of 200th Street, starting at 12,343 200th Street and continuing west 600 feet to 12,282nd 200th Street and setting a new pedestal in the south ditch located in section 30 of Buckeye Township.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. That was the only utility permit I had.
Yep.
Secondary roads. Got anything for us, or you want me to move to Honey Creek?
Yeah, we can move to that road. I've given you just a brief map. The orange highlight is the bridge. It has a 1-inch asphalt overlay on it, and this is, I guess kind of back up a little bit, Matthew Construction and called us. They want to have a pre-construction meeting so they can start our asphalt resurfacing project May 1.
On
On
D65.
D55 and D65. I don't know which one they'd start with, but we haven't determined that yet. But that bridge, we need to mill that inch asphalt overlay off it, and the deck has got some bad spots in it, so we'll have to have that fixed before they can start running asphalt trucks over it. So that's why I asked for the little milling machine that we have. The 18-inch gold planer would take forever, and we'd run through probably 2 or 3 sets of teeth at $320 a set of teeth. They have a big mill that had it done in a half hour. So I also asked them to look at a couple other things. The Honey Creek Church Road is one that we probably need to make a decision on what we want to do here in the near future. So I had him give me a few options, and I prefer not to mention any prices right now in case we let it out for bid.
Right.
So, but there's some different options, patching, overlaying, and seal coating. So, this is for your information. I included some of, we got 3 options from them back in 2012. So just for your reference, that it's not getting cheaper.
Right.
I can say that much.
One option was tearing it all out, putting it as gravel,
Yep, that is an option. So,
and then milling it.
then there's all kinds of different options with milling some of it up, or relaying it, seal coating it, or doing, I think we really need to do an asphalt at the intersection, at least for.
The
that's-
approach there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
On most of them.
The road's been a discussion with some landowners for at least 4 years.
Yep.
It's getting really bad. It's hard to travel across when you're pulling any type of equipment.
Yep.
What is your suggestion, idea?
Well, I don't have a suggestion right at the moment.
When you were talking about milling this bridge, were you thinking about milling that road as well?
Yep. Depending on what we end up doing. If we're gonna tear it up, we just tear it up, we wouldn't mill it.
Okay.
You know, we can go in there with the loader and get that done ourselves. And then haul the pile back to one of our yards. And then in the future, we may end up using it as recycled asphalt. So,
Okay.
there's also
Questions?
a couple
No.
other, this is.
I'll review it.
Yeah.
If I have any questions, yeah.
But there are a couple of other little things on here, like the approaches to the bridge to the north of there on the blacktop. You know, milling that out like we've done before and putting new approaches in. There's a seal coat quote for North Washington. We're gonna have to do something with that pretty soon. And I had him give me a quote on the intersection of 225th and D41 where it's our trucks that are doing it. We're going from gravel to pavement. We're beating that edge of that pavement up. And so there's just a lot of different options there.
Okay.
Just wanted to get into this, so.
Anything else for us? Any other business? Hearing none, I can ask for a recess so that we will continue to go into our 1 o'clock.
Make a motion to recess until 1 PM.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll recess.
The official copies.
All right, I'm ready to reconvene.
I'll make a motion to reconvene.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We've reconvened. Now I will go to receipt of bids, general obligation refunding capital loan notes. Tim?
So I'll walk you through the bids we received and then what the rates were and what we'd recommend. But I always find the timing to be entertaining, just nothing else. Bids are due at 10 o'clock, and so you can kind of see the range, you know, the last one leading to the very last second. There were 6 submitted on the electronic bidding system, and then 1 that sent a fax. And in the bid terms allowed a fax or a sealed bid, but I can't tell the last time we saw a sealed bid.
Okay.
So, so that's just more for your entertainment. The summary of the bids. Bankers Bank is not a household name. It's a co-op, if you will, of community banks throughout the upper Midwest that go together to provide services, member services to their individual banks that the banks couldn't perhaps cost effectively do on their own. So they're a sporadic bidder in Iowa. They bid when they have a relationship with a community bank, and in this case they do have one, at least one in the county. So what you're looking at is the interest rates range from a low of 1% in 2018 out to 2.7% in 2029. And the average of that is 1.917%. That's that little blue thing there. So
Pointer. Laser pointer?
The other one.
right there.
Okay.
So compared UMB Bank out of Kansas City, 192. So you're into the third decimal place to see it, find a difference between the two of them. So that means you had a good bidding environment. You know, when you go to the bank and you look at a CD and you try and decide, do I buy a 6-month CD or a 3-year CD or whatever, and usually the rate is higher the longer the CD is in place.
Mhm.
Bond people are the same way. So, you know, you think of this as one bond issue, which is fine. But there will be a piece of that bond that comes due in 2018, another piece in 2019, and then working your way out to 2029. And each of those has a different interest rate. So mathematically, it would not be accurate to say, well, next year my rate's going to go up to 1.15%, and the year after that it goes up to 1.3. It's actually not correct. The correct way to say it is I am paying the sum of each of these individual rates and each of the individual pieces, which we'll get to.
Okay.
And that produces an average rate, 1.92%. Now, we have to make some guess when we set the bid terms as to how their banks are going to bid, and invariably I guess wrong. I think something and then they do something different, and then the next time I think, well, we'll follow last time, and then they do something different again. So we always reserve the right in the bid to change the schedule after we have their bid in hand. So in this case, if you look at UMB's bid, you see they bid a bunch of 2% rates out to 265. Bankers Bank bid lower rates in those early years. Well, UMB is those 2% rates, they're selling to somebody to earn 1%. So they're charging a premium. So if you remember when you bought your house and the mortgage broker said you want to pay a point to buy down the rate, mathematically the reverse is also true. You can buy a point to buy up the rate. To me, it's all just algebra. And so the person in the UMB bid, they're taking that 2% interest rate, selling it to somebody at 1%, and then there's a little price difference there, and then they're crediting that back to the county, and so that shows up in the purchase price. UMB was offering to buy this issue of bonds at these interest rates for a price of $2,887,000. Bankers Bank was offering to buy the same bond issue at lower rates for a price of $2,827,000. So I have to account for that difference and then come back and make sure that we properly size the issue. So we changed the issue size after the bid, and that changed the interest rate to 1.92%. So we're still slightly under UMB's bid, but you're out in the fourth decimal place.
Yeah.
To see the difference between the two. So they were substantially identical bids. So then you work your way on out. The Hutch Shockey 199, Davidson at a 202, Barrett at a 210, 211, and then a 218. So the first thing we set out to do, these folks, all 6 of these bidders down here use the internet bidding system.
I was going to say, so this one was the faxed one.
Correct.
Oh.
And that has nothing to
No, it's
nothing to do with the winning bidder sends a fax. It's more to do with usually the bidder that has a local bank making a meaningful participation in the transaction is going to win.
Okay.
Whether it's UMB or Bankers Bank or any one of these other firms. Local banks matter in these kinds of issues, and so the firm that has a partnership that's a real partnership, in this case it happens to be Bankers Bank. We take, the first thing we do when we get a fax bid, because there's no underlying computer system checking the bid. With these others, we'll still check them, but there is a system telling them, hey, you did the bid wrong, or it's outside of the parameters. First thing we do with Bankers Bank and the fax bid is double check, make sure that they did their calc correctly. And then the second thing I usually do is call UMB, because on their internet it looks like they're the winning bidder, and so they're getting excited thinking, we probably are buying this issue, so I need to say, hey, you're not the low bidder, Bankers Bank is the low bidder, just so that they don't get out in front of themselves. All right, so the headline here before we move through the rest of this is just, when we started out, we thought the savings would be 570 some thousand at an average interest rate of 2.5%. Now, my average interest rate's different than this, and I'll get to why. Savings is actually going to be 644,000 and an average interest rate of a 2.35. So rates are a little lower than when we started this discussion in March. Rates could have gone the other way, just happened that they went this direction, and that produces better savings for you. And then here's the savings analysis.
How much is square?
Do we have the ability to shrink it a little bit?
Yeah, it escaped Kate. And now you can go.
Right there.
And
Oh, wait.
you want to get the whole page? It's that one?
That one?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
And then hit the arrows that go diagonal again, or?
I think if it does that, it's gonna try and maximize. Well, try it. It's, that one is what gets full page, but I'm not
That
sure
one,
what it'll do
alright.
there. Yeah.
No.
Okay. But that's fine.
Still did
Is that
it,
okay?
sorry.
That's okay for me, because I'm only cutting off as the heading. So, remember, you've got Pine Lakes, you've got Garden Wind, and you've got property taxes. And so the savings, there's actually 4 tables here. One is aggregate. And so for the aggregate savings, 644,000. But then I've also tracked them by each of the purposes. So this next table is taxes, 120,000 reduction in taxes, 20,000, 24, 21, et cetera, working its way out. Pine Lakes and Garden Wind are the next 2. Pine Lakes is about 75,000. Now these are after fees, so this is net. And Garden Wind is 450,000. This for Garden Wind and Pine Lakes, you're contributing a little bit more than $2 million of cash you've got on hand to go ahead and pay the bonds off early. So Pine Lakes bonds originally paid off in '23. Now they'll pay off in 2019. One more budget year after the year you just approved, and then Pine Lakes TIF in theory can go away, or part of it can, or you can do something else. The cash contribution is not savings. It's your money, you already have it. So I show it as a negative savings. It's a cost, if you will, and then it's offset by these years. Oops, I did that wrong. Those years there, you're saving by not having debt payments. So, and then the question is, what's the net? So 75,000 for Pine Lakes. Same discussion for Garden Wind. It used to be 2027 payoff, and now it will pay off in 22 in full, but that's a pretty small payment there, really mostly in 2021. And again, your savings net of almost $1.8 million, you're contributing. Savings is 450,000. So the big winner, if you will, you're going to save 644,000. 450 of that's Garden Wind. 120 is property taxes, and then 75 is Pine Lakes. Now, you understand TIF well enough to know the Garden Win and Pine Lakes, they don't keep that money. It's, you know, you're not sending Pine Lakes 75 grand, though I'm sure they would gladly accept it. It still flows back to the county in the form of we shut that TIF off earlier, and it comes into the general fund of the county, it goes into the general fund of the school district. Although that's a very different formula, and I could bore you for hours on that. It's not found money for the school, is the point I'd make.
Okay.
All right. Doing okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so savings, so uses and sources of money. We're not paying off the 2005 bond. I left it there and then just left it blank. We're paying off 09 A and B, taxes and Pine Lakes. 2010 taxes. One of those is courthouse and the other is communications. Tower, yep. And then the 11 bond is Garden Win. $5,075,000. We have about 60,000 of fees, you know, legal fees, our costs, rating costs, and the winning bidders' fees. We round to 5,000, so there's always a little bit of money left over, and because of rounding. Selling a new bond issue of $2,885,000, and then contributing $2,250,000 of the county's money. It's all TIF. To total $5,139,000, which is enough to pay off the old bonds and pay the fees associated. Average interest rate on the bond. So different ways to calculate this depending on the purpose of the calculation. The only one I care about is the very bottom one.
Yep.
That's the fully loaded fees, everything's accounted for, 2.35%. And that's the one that was 254 last time we were together. So 0.2% lower, roughly. And yeah, we do calculate it for each of the different pieces of the puzzle, but you know, I'm looking at the end result. New payment schedule. You got a portion that's taxes, a portion that's Pine Lakes. Let's see if I can show that on the portion that's Garden Wind. And these will be the schedules that Jessica will certify to herself this fall when she does the TIF certifications. Interest rates are over here, and then the last, in case you wanted to know what were the rates on the old bonds, 3s to 4 on the 2009, 3s to 3.6 on the Pine Lakes, 2.5 to 3.5 on the 2010, and I forget which is courthouse and which is tower. I think this is courthouse, but could be. And then the Garden Win, just under 2% out to 3.5. So we're cutting, you know, what you see predominantly are above 3% rates, and we're taking that down to 2.5s. And so thus the savings. Questions?
Not yet.
Nope.
Okay. So the bids are 7 bids. I can tell you they were submitted in compliance with the bid parameters. Bankers Bank and UMB did their calculations correctly. Though they're virtually identical bids, you do award to the low bid. I have no reason not to either. There's we have no issues with any of the bidders here that they failure to perform or anything like that. So our recommendation when we get to the resolution part of your agenda is to accept the bid from Bankers Bank and Hardin County Savings Bank.
So that's the receipt of the bids, general obligation. You got any more for us?
I do not.
So from there, we can go to the resolution directing the sale of $3,100,000 subject to adjustment per term of offering, general obligation, refunding capital loan notes, series 2017.
Nancy, does there need to be a certain way the motion needs to be worded? And then I just need to include the winning bidders.
You'll take it step by step. Your first resolution just directs the sale, so just,
Okay.
you're gonna adopt that resolution first.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution directing the sale of $3.1 million of general obligation refunding capital loan notes, Series 2017.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
BJ?
Aye.
Lance?
Aye. Motion carries. Second, I have is a resolution authorizing the redemption of outstanding general obligation capital loan notes, Series 2009A, dated October 1st of 2009.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the redemption of outstanding general obligation capital notes, Series 2009A, dated October 1st, 2009.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
BJ?
Aye.
Lance?
Aye. Motion carries. Third is a resolution authorizing the redemption of outstanding general obligation urban renewal capital loan notes, Series 2009B, dated October 1st, 2009.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the redemption of outstanding general obligation urban renewal capital notes, Series 2009B, dated October 1st, 2009.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
BJ?
Aye.
Lance?
Aye. Motion carries. Fourth one is a resolution authorizing the redemption of the outstanding general obligation capital loan notes, Series 2010, dated November 1st, 2010.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the redemption of outstanding general obligation capital loan notes, Series 2010, dated November 1st, 2010.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
BJ?
Aye.
Lance?
Aye. Motion carries. Fifth, I have is a resolution authorizing the redemption of the outstanding general obligation urban renewal capital loan notes, Series 2011A, dated August 1st of 2011.
I'll make a motion adopting the resolution authorizing the redemption of outstanding general obligation urban renewal capital loan notes, Series 2011A, dated August 1st, 2011.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
BJ?
Aye.
Lance?
Aye. Motion carries. At this time, I don't have anything else. What else do we need to do?
Nothing from you.
Then I can ask for adjournment.
Thanks for your hard work.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We're adjourned.